Hello, hello, hello. Wow, my voice. All right. Good morning, everybody. Oh, yeah, it's taking a little while for the alerts to go out today. Another beautiful day that the Lord has made. Please type in the chat box if you can hear me, if the sound is fine, or if we're dealing with any robot issues. Hey, Tom, are you backstage? Here, I'm going to bring you on right now then. Oh, you still got to say good morning to everybody. Good morning, Tom. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. It's crazy. These these alerts, right? Don't really go out. So I'm trying to like right before the show send out like those community posts, to let I don't know if those are hitting people or do those pop up on your phone too or
No,
just
I have nothing pop up on my phone. I got
see that
nothing set to do it though.
see that's crazy, right? They like it used to be like, well, if I sent out the request, right, that it would go out like 30 seconds. There'd be like, I don't know, 5 to 7 people. Now it takes like 3 minutes, like almost 3 minutes. Well, there's five in here now at 2 minutes. That's not bad. All right, let me say hi to everybody. Hey, Luke, how you doing, Shannon? Good morning. I think that's everybody.
Can they hear you, Steve?
Yeah. If you guys can hear us, give us a
Okay, now I wasn't looking at the chat. Now I see it.
yeah. Sometimes it takes a while. We probably have like a 2 second lag or something like that, which is not bad.
I was actually playing Spider Solitaire, so I had it blocked out.
Yeah.
I played a Grandmaster one. You know what I mean?
Well, it's almost like like that seems like a safe thing to do nowadays. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like what else can we do that's safe? You know, playing
Right.
solitaire. That's a decent way to spend time because I mean, just the way that they set up everything to be, attached to the occult in some kind of way, right?
Well,
And yeah,
and like for me, okay. I mean, so when I'm at work here, I mean, I got all these computers running scans. I'm having a lady brought in 140 CDs for me to rip to put
yeah,
on a flash drive for. So you just sit here and wait for all this stuff to get done. So in the meantime, if I ain't chatting with you, find young
right.
people in here, I'm playing solitaire.
That's good. Well, I know my grandma used to play. Like, okay, so my grandma used to play, but it was like you could gamble on it. Like
Oh,
she in like yeah, like a casino or something like that.
I don't do any of that.
And see, I don't know how that even would work, man. But she used to do it in at the casinos. But
That's what
but
that's what,
but
that's what
what I
grannies do, Steve.
no, I know it. But what I was saying earlier about these games, right? Like even things that are like um that seem like innocuous, like games for like kids or whatever, like Pokemon or something like that. They have like these occult attachments to them, like they're named after like old occult gods or whatever, and they have you like going around trying to find virtual stuff. I mean, it
Right.
really is pretty crazy, like all the games and how they attach that stuff.
No doubt. Well, 139 CDs burnt, ripped, I should say. I'm down to my last one. Thing is, she didn't tell me some of these had actually have 2 and 3 CDs in the case. You know what I'm saying? The
Right. Oh yeah, she
one I
didn't
just
tell
got
you.
done burning, Steve, was called Boxcar Willie. that's
Boxcar Willie? What's that?
that's some country stuff, I'm sure. Boxcar
Yeah.
Willie and friends, yeah. They're old. I mean, she was in her 70s, you know.
Well, what's crazy is just like how much memory has gotten so much better, right? As far as computer memory.
Mm-hmm.
Like that you can fit almost like, a huge amount of stuff on a small thing now,
Mm-hmm.
where, if I would have said, like when computers came out, if I would have said like, 2 gigs or something like that, that would be crazy talk.
You'd have been the man.
Right, right. I think my first computer had 128 Ks of RAM. And I think that that's like what about the size of a text message, right?
If that anymore, I mean, one picture
Yeah,
on a cell phone anymore would have filled up 10 hard drives back in the day.
that's
You know, it's 20
crazy, man.
megs. I mean, that's probably on just average is 20 megapixel now on a camera phone.
Yeah, that is unbelievable, man. Just because, like, I was thinking about, like, okay, so the world being inverted, right? And I said this on, I think, a couple other shows, so you might have been here, right? But think about this, right? The devil's using AI, right, with the internet, right? All like the probably the most amount of computer power ever, right? Versus a book.
Right, and he can't
And,
compete.
and I think that that's so poetic, man. Like that's like it's
Yeah,
so perfect.
yeah, I like that. That's a good
Yeah.
analogy there. Yeah.
And so like you know how like like the older generation will be like oh yeah, why can't we go back to where we were reading books. And so like they always want to break the communication between generations, right? So that you don't hear that message.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I mean, if we look for it, right, it's embedded in everywhere in creation you can find God. But it's all up to like I think it's up to like your mindset and what you're looking for.
And
Because
it's
if
like
you
I
want a
think,
way out, you'll get it.
yeah, and I think like the Bible is still the number one seller
Yeah,
of
that's right.
books year after year. I mean, that's got to tell you something, right?
But isn't it weird how like they don't even put it on the New York Times bestseller list, even though it is every year?
But they'd have to come up with a new one, I think, to do that. I don't think they do that. I think they do that with new books that are published, don't they? Or
Yeah.
am I wrong? I could be wrong on that. I don't
Mm-mm. No, they just don't put it on there because it's number one all the time. And just some devil trick.
know. Right, right.
It's obvious it's the most read book. It's the most scrutinized book in the world, right? People have spent a lot of time and a lot of money trying to disprove it or split it up or cause a rift or you know what I mean?
Nonstop. Yep, they don't stop with that game, and they never can
Nonstop.
infect it. They infect the people. They dumb down the people to believe to read Bibles that aren't true Bibles.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the King James is always there, so you can't get past that. They'll never get around it.
Yeah, and like I was thinking, right? Like cuz so like a lot of people say like the Bible has been messed with or changed or whatever. And okay, I mean to a certain degree maybe that some of that's possible, right? But if you think about it, right? Uh if I change the Bible right now, I can't change all the copies that are out there.
Right.
And so like I mean it's to some level they're all like safe in that way. Like you can take what you have and go back to the old manuscripts and see what it is.
And the thing is, they'll have the truth out there. They're not going to stop you from seeing it, but what they do is they tell you that the King James is old, it's outdated, you can't read it, you can't understand it. Go get this Bible. So then you go get the a sloppy, crappy version, the garbage version, I like to call them, and you don't get the truth. Or you get
That's
the
right.
different confusions or different interpretations because you're not taking from the original. And the
Right.
King James
Right.
is the closest to original we have.
Well, I fell victim to that, right? And like that's I'm glad you brought that up because now I just stick to the King James. I don't even mess around anymore. But I used to, so like I stumbled on the Message Bible, right? Like 6 months, I don't know, maybe it was 3 months ago, and it was like it was starting to make sense, like in language terms. So when I would listen to it, it would sound like just like a sermon, basically. It was easy to understand, right? But
Okay.
then when it got to the Lord's Prayer, right? In the middle of the Lord's Prayer, it said, "As above, so below."
No
And
way.
yes, man, yes. So I told Hannah, I'm like, "Hey, what do you think of the Message Bible? Because I just listen to it once in a while." And then she goes, read the Lord's Prayer in there. And I read the Lord's Prayer in there, and I mean, I gasped. You
Isn't
know,
that insane?
it is insane. And they call Jesus a master instead of,
Right,
which, I mean, that's one name for him. That's kind of the lowest thing, lowest. You could be called a lot better than that,
right.
And so, like, I don't know. So, I don't know, but when I read that, I was like just in shock.
Wow,
But
yeah, I had never heard that, Steve.
yeah, it's in there. And then Cindy Krista said that it's also the number one stolen book, the Bible.
Oh, yeah, right out of the motel rooms,
Yeah, but it's crazy how it's everywhere, right? The Bible's everywhere, and I know that like for most people, they don't want it there, right? It wouldn't be there for no reason, right? Like it's in every single courtroom. If they didn't have to have it in there, they wouldn't have it in there. There's some kind of they're binded to have that in there.
I think
So
so.
we, give over our authority to them.
Right,
And because like I can't think of a reason why anyone in the government would want to have that book around. And
right,
because
because
it's
it
all the
completely
truth.
destroys. Yeah, exactly.
And they
Destroys
want
their
you.
narrative when they got the truth out there, but they have to have the truth out there, but they want to try to deceive you with it.
Yeah, absolutely. But then you think of like you know how they do like all the laws and stuff, right? And I know that there's that people that study that what is it called? I forget what it's called, free man law or something like that, where there's some kind of tricks that you can use against the police or whatever
Oh, yeah,
to
yeah,
like talk
yeah.
your way out of stuff. But like, I mean, laws are really only for like honest people anyway, right? Like, I mean, if you're an honest person, you're gonna follow the law. If
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're a creep, you're not gonna consider that stuff. I mean, there's always gonna be different types of people, right? People that scrutinize the law and oh, what does this word actually mean, and then there's people that find loopholes, and there's people that don't care about the law, there's people that bend the rules, right? It seems like people focus too much on like the fact that the law is out there when in reality it's an abstract thing that only really honest people follow.
Right,
And so it's the same thing I think with the Bible, right? Like the law is there, right? It's in the Bible, and but I think that like if you're already a faithful person, right, and you love God, none of that's gonna matter because you wouldn't go there anyway. You wouldn't, you know what I mean? I don't know
yep.
how to explain it.
No, I know
It
what you're
would be in
saying.
your heart.
Yep.
What's up, Sheila? How you doing, Bubba? Oh, I love Bubba's work. If you ever seen it, Tom. Oh, it's amazing, man. He does good work.
Might have, not sure.
Luke is here. Cindy's here. Let me see who else is here. Shulamite was here. Shepherd's Voice. She had a stream last night. I liked it. She was talking about her near-death experience, or she did die, really. And
What's her channel? Someone should paste that for me because I probably lost that too.
Shepherd's Voice. Let me see who's in there. If somebody has a wrench in there,
Does
if
she
you
have
can
one?
post. I know she doesn't have a wrench. I think Bob is the only one that has a wrench. I would give her one, but I don't have YouTube open right now.
Oh, that's fine. But yeah, if
Yeah,
someone could
but
paste
yeah,
her.
well, yeah, and if it doesn't get pasted, I'll just share it to you. I
Yeah.
have it on my community board, but I'll share it to you anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that we should like all sub to each other, and I tried to put up a community post that says um, for everyone to put their channels on there.
Right.
And then like maybe or I could like we could leave it up like that, or I could copy them all down and just put them on one big community post.
Yeah,
I don't
whatever
know.
works. No
And
use having
then
my channel there. I got no content no more.
I know that sucks, man, because then
Yeah,
you
no.
can. It's really the people you're subscribed to, right? That's like it causes all the grief, and you were saying, right? Because you can't find those people no more.
Right, right.
You know,
Yeah.
And then like you think of like the kind of obscure people that you watch, right? Like Daniel Pratt or Dave J, all these guys that are good people to watch, but you don't think of them all the time.
Hmm.
And you're like, oh man, I forgot to add this guy too, because it'll never pop up in real,
They don't
you
no
know what I
more.
mean?
I know.
You know, and so it's nothing gets recommended anymore. And
No.
so if it wasn't for that, right, when I was looking for, the moon conspiracies, if it wasn't for flat Earth popping up all the time, I never would have even clicked it.
Right.
And so now it never gets, it never pops up for people, recommendation
At all. No, nothing
at
at all like
all.
that. Mm-mm. No,
That's
we got lucky
crazy.
when we got into it because we were in it from the beginning. So we gotta find all those people and get that knowledge soon. Early on in this thing. I mean,
Yeah.
because that opened up our eyes to a lot of different truths that we had been lied to.
Oh
With the
yeah.
fake space and all that stuff and space, fake space shuttles. And that was the hardest thing for me to accept that there was a space shuttle up there.
Yeah.
And
No
that
outer
was tough.
space. No
Yeah.
outer space is the toughest one because just of how they explain everything up there. I
Well,
mean,
because you see
all
the lights flying, but then once you hear someone say, "You see a light," you have no idea what that light is, and you're like, "Yeah, no kidding." Then it
right.
clicks, it's like, "Man, yeah, everything else is a lie. That must be too."
But I think what people don't realize is that like all the stuff that they say is happening up there could still be happening. It's just closer. It's just a
Much.
lot closer. And so there's people that'll say like, "Oh yeah, well this stuff actually does happen, and this will be over here at this time, and this that this and that." But all that is still it can all happen. It's just closer.
Well, check this out. Yesterday we were like 30 degrees, okay?
Yeah.
Right now with the wind chill, we're 22 below. So that's 50 some degrees difference in temperature in 24 hours. How is that possible with that if the sun is, it'd
93
have to be, yeah, how much closer that thing would have had to got and now moved back away to have, a 50-degree difference in temperature just in one day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I mean sun has something to do with heat, but not everything. It's where the winds and that come from. I don't know. It's kind of biblical. The Bible
Well,
talks
see,
about stuff like that.
I know that it's explained, right? That the sun, right, is close and it's kind of like a spotlight that goes around, you know what I mean, around the flat Earth, right?
Mm,
But what people don't talk about, because it's like you can't prove the dome, even though I think I know it's there, right? But like because they don't ever include the dome part, right? It's like that the sun is not like uh, it's not like a spotlight. It's a light that reflects off the dome. And so
right.
it's like turning on a light in a room, and not like turning on a light like, out in the way dark in the woods, right? There's all this stuff for the lights to reflect off of up there. And
Yeah.
so I don't know how it would even be possible for the sun to light up everything if there wasn't anything for it to reflect off of.
Yeah. And it always kind of stays the same size for the most part, too. That's what I don't get.
Yeah, I think because like, well, you know what Arwen says about that, right?
Mm,
It's not physical, so that there's no spatial consequences, right? And I kind of get him on that point a little bit, that like if it was a solid object, it would get smaller and bigger, right, as it goes away and comes towards you. But if it's not made of anything solid, right? If it's just just light and that's it, right? No, nothing in there, right? Then it would stay the same size. What people argue about is that if it's only light and nothing else, right? Then where's the light coming from? It has to come from somewhere. If it's not
right.
coming from itself, right? So I'm sure we'll find out when when we cross to the other side. But I know it's amazing just to see that thing up there, and to know that what we were taught was lies in school. It's like it makes it even more amazing that the moon is in the sky and the sun is up there.
Right. Absolutely.
Because I've never seen a floating rock before or whatever that is up there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Someone described it as like maybe it's like a window to heaven. Like
Well, the
it's
way to
like the
look at it,
sun's
why
like,
does a meteorite fall all the way to the earth, which I don't believe in, but the moon doesn't fall all the way to the earth? Why doesn't it get
right.
caught in that orbit or other any other orbits that are out there? What allows them to penetrate through that barrier?
Right, right.
You know,
I love how they describe the moon as like some meteor hit the Earth and then a rock like floated out there, and it, you know, over time it got round or something like that because it was spinning. That's so dumb.
it's stupid, but we all
That
believed it, right? We all believed it.
we did, man, we did.
Hook,
You
line, and
know,
sinker, man.
yeah.
Never question nothing. You know,
Well, like I think the thing that they got us right. I think the thing where they got us was satellites, right? Because there's obviously satellites in the sky, right? But they want us to believe that it's a geostationary orbiting satellite that it's orbiting it's orbiting the same speed as the Earth, so it stays over the same spot, right? So
well, the
it's
yeah, and the one
flying.
question I always ask people about that, when that thing's flying at 17,500 miles or however fast it's going to
Yeah,
get there, what
yeah.
stops it and keeps it then in that geosync area? How does it stop? You know, I mean, you either get gravity, they got thrusters on them. So now they got fuel on these things, they got engines on these things.
I don't know, man.
I mean,
It, it's ridiculous,
it's
man.
ridiculous.
I mean, now thinking about orbits, right, is ridiculous to me. But they even had me believing that that was like, you know, oh yeah, that's just a get, you know, orbits are real for sure, you know, like,
Right?
but there's no way to demonstrate an orbit ever, you
No,
know, like, so it like other than like the only way they could say that it's real is if they say that they've been up there in a rocket, you know, because it's not it's not at all any way explainable, you know. How did they get people to believe it before, you know, before uh
I got something for you though, Steve.
yeah,
I just got a text from a buddy of mine.
yeah.
Um, he's got tickets for the Packer game.
What?
Yeah, that he's trying to get rid of.
But
Yeah.
it's in Wisconsin though.
Well, I know you have to get a book a flight real quick.
Oh
He's
man,
actually
if I
when he
don't have to get jabbed.
dude, when he got the tickets, he didn't realize it was his wedding day.
What?
So yeah, so he can't go to the game because he's getting married.
Are you going to the game, man?
I'm not going. They're $1,500 a piece.
Oh yeah, yeah, forget it.
Yeah,
Forget it.
no,
I haven't seen a football game in probably like I don't know 5 or 6 years, but I follow the scores all the time because that's all my family talks about. Because I used to just talk about God all the time since like you know flat Earth stuff. I just talk about flat Earth and God, and but that wears people out. I guess it doesn't wear me out,
no, me either.
but regular people are like, "Come on, man, come on, man. Do we have to talk about the end times all the time?" I'm like, what do you mean? It's good news, man. Like it's great that it's happening, you know. But other people, I guess they don't see it that way, you know.
You know, and
They,
here's the thing, it's just that times are so bad, you can't help it. I mean, if it was, 3, 4 years ago, I could see, it gets wearing it does wear you down a little bit. Flat Earth wears me down a little bit. But right now, as bad as things are, and as much as they're pushing their initiative, I mean,
yeah,
you can't help but talk about this stuff. You gotta keep everybody how can pumped up and looking for Jesus and, be ready for what they're throwing at us, be
that's
prepared.
it.
You just
That's it.
we have to be as, Christians,
We can't be in denial about all this stuff, you know. We got to
No.
be in reality, and we got to support each other. We can't argue over little crap, you know. We got to
No.
support each other and be in reality, and those are two hard things to do, apparently. But you know, I know that we have it in us, right? But when you have a lot of people here, because like I would say, if you found this channel, right, we can all like we have good discernment. Most of us, we're probably sharper than the average cat, right? You know, like you when you have a chat full of special people, everyone thinks that they're the only special person. You know, I mean, not
I'm not,
everyone, but
Steve. I'm not.
right, right. But it's like we're all special in that way, you know. And you know, there's some people more empathetic and understanding than others, what's hard to convince somebody that's already special is that they may have one more level of special to get to, that they may even get a little bit better, right, and a little bit more amazing, and you know. I know I want to be that. I want to get better and more amazing, you know?
Right,
And
right.
and so like, I don't know. I think that we're all brought together for a reason to strengthen each other up for whatever's about to come. And I think that what it is that we can't see in ourselves what we need to get better, right? We see that in other people, but it's hard to see in ourselves. And so to get a view from somebody that you trust, right, really can help you get better and stronger for what's coming.
Hmm.
Because it's coming. It's coming. You know, whatever it is, it's coming.
I had a guy in here yesterday, and he's like way, way out there as far as with the UFOs and these other civilizations and all this stuff, you know. But he tries to tell me stuff all the time, and I'm like, he goes, trust me. I said, why would I trust you? I said, I've been lied to for 55 years of my life. I said, I've only known the truth for 5, 6 years. I'm not going to trust you, but you got something to say about the Bible? Back, show me the scripture. I said, we've been lied to about history, science, religion, everything. Why am I going to take your word because you watched a video on somebody?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And that's how we need to be as Christians. We got to quit taking people's word for what they say and search everything out to make sure we're not being lied to.
that's true. And what happens is a lot of times people will trust that other source, right, more than the Bible, and they
And
won't
don't even
scrutinize them.
right, and don't even know that other source. That's the key.
Right,
You just watch somebody and all of a sudden he's your best friend. You don't even know his last name.
right, right, right. Well, what gets me is that like like so you remember we always hear about that experiment from Aristophanes or whatever. And if you look up Aristophanes, right, um, there was like five other astronomers that lived in the town that they say he's from, and they all wrote books, right? But none of them mentioned Aristophanes.
Ain't that something?
And if you just look, right, just do that little research, right, then you find that out. And then someone told me if you unjumble the name, right, Aristophanes, it's earth set stone.
That's what I heard too. Yeah.
And it's just it's like ridiculous how like if we all just check who wrote this, what's their motivation. If they were a real person, they were probably some kind of Freemason, right? Or if it's likely they might not even be a real person. And so I always look at history as like it's the mainstream news of the past, right?
Well, yeah, and it's like these plays on how they play on names and words and numbers and stuff. It's a language to these people. They understand it. It's
Yeah,
like us trying to read Chinese. We can't, but it's a language. Same with the gematria thing of it, like the
yeah,
Aristosthenes, how that spells other things. There's lots of things like that out there. The elite, those ruling class people, they
yeah,
understand that. They see it plain as day. Just like if you were one of them and been in their organization for 20, 30 years, you would understand that portion and know it too. I bet you when they read a newspaper, they don't read it the same way we do.
yeah. I bet you're right.
I mean,
Like I bet that like there's certain last names that they recognize, that we have would have no
dates.
idea.
Yeah.
Dates and all that. Yeah, like certain dates that are coming up or, prophecies or whatever.
Yeah.
You're
And when
right.
to add the numbers, when to multiply, and when to just put a dash between the numbers. I mean, it's very sophisticated and they understand it fully.
Well, I was doing that yesterday, writing it down, the Emmy Awards, right? And I was like, Emmy, right? Like M-E, me, me award, right? like a selfish me award, right? And
Okay.
then the M-E is, of course that number, right? If you flip it, it's that number. And it's like I mean just all these different connections, right, that they could make with things, right? There was some more things I wrote down about it, but
But think about Emmy. EM backwards would be me, and then me, the person, the ME, the me, me is it's me, right?
right,
Me,
yeah,
I.
yeah, exactly. It's just funny, man, how they do it. And then like, okay, so the Oscars, right? Is it the Oscars? No, it might even be the Emmys, right? Or the Golden Globes or one of those, right? Where it's the National Association of Arts and Television or something like that. something like that. And it's backwards. It's Satan.
Really?
So yes, yes. So yes, so it's either the Emmy Awards. Or somebody looked that up. If it's Emmys or Oscars, and then the award itself, I think it's Emmys. The award itself is like an angel with like what do you call it? A lightning bolt for wings, right?
Wow.
And holding the earth or something like that. It's pretty it's pretty crazy. It's National Association. No, yeah, National Association of Television Arts and Sciences or something like that. And it's spelled backwards. It's Satan backwards.
That is
And
incredible.
it's in plain sight. I mean, it's easy to look. That's easy to look up, right? It's not hard to look up. Just like it's not hard to look up the dimensions of the Washington Monument, right?
Right.
Like you can look up, all the sixes in there, right? Up and down, right? And the definition for what it actually is, there's no other definition other than it's the staff of Baal. It's an obelisk, you know?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely
it's like it's like a middle finger to God, man.
is. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then you got like, so they play both sides, right? So it's like they it's like it's deceptive, right? So you'll have like people that'll do like, okay, well they say the Pride Parade is bad, but the opposite of that is the Proud Boys, right? So it's like pride on both sides. It's equally bad, right? Like the only way to win is to separate from the game, right? To get involved with what's good or what's bad or whatever, right? Is a devil trick, right? Because we don't define right and wrong for ourselves. We don't need to have an opinion about that. God defines that for us. And
And
so
it's
if we
written on our hearts.
that's it. That's it. And so with all this back and forth and one side or the other kind of thing, right? I mean, if you didn't know that there was anti-gun people, then you wouldn't know if you were a gun person. You know what I mean? Like the only reason why you know what you are is because of the other side. Otherwise, you're just a guy that has a gun,
Right.
you know? And so they create the sides, even though, it's just abstract and conceptual in your mind. And so it seems like it's all a big mind, just a, mind screw or whatever
Right.
to confuse us, right? The only thing that like, it's nutty if you think that the world is real and anything can happen. It makes sense if you think about the world as a created story and we read it and we know how it's all going to come to fruition. The only part that I couldn't understand myself is pain, like other than the pain being in the world, which is very real, right? Then everything else makes sense, right? And it's like I wonder what the purpose of the pain was. I know that we cause it by giving into the devil with temptation, right? That's where pain gets caused, right? Someone sinning against somebody else, right? But
That's one
as
type
a
of pain. Yeah.
yeah, and as a created story, right? It's at least we know how it ends and how it's gonna be. I just wish that there was nobody being victimized in the world. Other than that, either way. But it's uh I can't wait for him to come back and stop all that.
No, I know, because that's is the hardest thing to
Yeah,
learn about and know about is what the things that happen, the horrific things to these kids. I mean,
yeah,
from the sex trafficking, the kidnapping, the raping, the killing, eating them. I mean,
yeah.
it just
Oh
it
my
just goes
God.
on and on, aborting them. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. It's disgusting, and I do watch a little bit of that stuff just to keep me aware of just how evil the world is. When you start feeling too comfortable living this life, I mean, it's time to learn things, study things, refresh your mind on what really is going on out there in the world. Because it's
Yeah,
just because we're not having like firsthand experience of other people aren't.
that's
We need to
right.
be praying for all this stuff, and it should be on our mind all the time. You
Yeah.
know,
We all should be praying about it without ceasing.
right?
And so like there was on The Economist, right? Back in 2019, they had a pangolin on the cover, And the pangolin, it says when you look it up, is the most trafficked animal in the world, right? But in reality, it's a human being is the most trafficked animal in the world. And it's insane that it's ignored completely, right? And people are thinking about this pangolin, right? Like nobody said anything about this jab until like those puppy dogs were involved in, and everyone was outraged that these puppy dogs were killed by this jab, right?
Right.
And it's like, what about all the people, man? Like
Right.
we're at a stage where people don't even care about other people, man. And it's just insane, man. And who knows where pain is happening? It could be right down the street from us, right? And it's just so hard, right? I mean, people don't want to think about it, right? Because it's difficult. And the chat will go down to 5 people, right? But it is what it is, right? Like we have to know that this is reality and that this is the situation that we're in. And the sooner God gets back, the better. And if we can do something about this, that I mean, that's the thing that's heartbreaking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, and plus, I mean, when you stay on top of this stuff, it's easier to talk to other people you run into about stuff and just let them know how bad this off we are, and and we're not going back. I mean, this stuff, the stranglehold is coming, man. I mean, they're just warming everything up. They've done nothing to us yet compared to what they're going to.
I
I
know
mean,
it.
they really want to kill like 7, 8 billion people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's their goal. I mean, that's a lot of people.
They got to get it down to 500 million. So wherever we're at now, if it is 9 billion, then yeah, they want to kill most of everybody. But if it's less than that, they still want to kill a lot of us, right? Like it's hard for us to even know what's true anymore, right?
Well,
Like I
we know
think
the number they wanna kill because they wanna reduce the world population to 500 million. I mean,
right, but
they've been saying that for decades.
yeah, that's for sure. Yeah,
But you're right, we don't know the true population.
and like I just because it like if there were fewer of us, right? Then they say it would make more sense. Like the biblically, it would make more sense because just how few that it makes you feel like there's so few people, right, that are going to be on that narrow path, right? And it makes you think that there's I don't know, like that it's a smaller. No, I hope it's a bigger number than I'm thinking in my head. I hope there's just millions and millions and millions, a billion people or whatever,
But,
But I
even that's a small number compared to how many people have existed on this since creation,
yeah, it's
you
true.
know? I mean, we
But you
look at it
wonder,
in Go ahead.
yeah. No, go ahead, buddy.
I'll just say we look at, the numbers that we live in today because this is the only thing we really know, but you look at 6,000 years of people living and dying. I mean, the total number of people that were actually have been born and lived. I mean, who knows? I mean, hundreds of billions, right? Probably, or I don't know, a lot of
Yeah,
people,
it's hard to quantify, right? Because like when you start off with two, right, it probably takes a while to get to a big number, right? And then once it's at a big number, it's like then it's crazy. It never stops, right? Like,
right?
you know. And so they've had to start over once, because they had to start over with 8 people again. And
Yeah.
so like you never know. I mean, there's people that do the math and all this stuff, but we don't know about like the rules and laws and wars and pestilences, like how that affected population, right? We know about some of it, right? But there could be a lot of factors, right? And so, because like think about Abraham and Sarah, right? They were almost 100 years old when they had their first kid. So it's like there's anomalies like that.
Yeah, but I mean that was for a specific purpose for God, though.
Sure.
But you look at Job; he had 20 kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
True.
know, and then
True.
I mean, you look at was it David or Solomon who had like who knows how many wives and how many
Right.
concubines?
Like a
can you see?
harem.
Dude, that's a city,
Well, yeah, that's what they used to do, right? Like all the people that come from you used to be a city, right? Like
right?
they would name the land after you, and then everyone that comes from your lineage is basically the people that live there. as far as like us assimilating with each other, right? Like after the Tower of Babel and all that stuff, right? Like, I mean, that's got to be like a recent thing when, different travel has been invented, like, better ships, airplanes, that makes things easier for us to all kind of assimilate with each other, right? But like before that, it was like we probably just stayed on our own land or whatever, you know?
But I don't, and to a point, I agree. But I mean, people got
Yeah,
throughout all the land masses on this earth. People were there thousands of years ago. People were in
yeah,
this country thousands of years ago. I mean, it's unreal what
yeah,
when you really start looking at history and when you see things like everyone thinks Columbus discovered America. Well, there was Native Americans here when he got here, and before
yeah.
that, you probably had the Viking. I mean, the Vikings were hundreds of years before Columbus. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and who knows before the Native Americans who were here, or who knows how long they were here. But I mean, people have been on this continent a long time.
I think like at the Tower of Babel, right? When they split up the languages, didn't God put everybody on every land in the world, right? Split
I,
everybody up.
it could be. I'm not sure how that out went down. It isn't really specific, but that was a big part of it. And that look how long ago that was.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
And but I think travel has helped people mix back up again, is what I'm saying.
Oh no, no, no. I agree 100% with that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Jackie, how you doing? Welcome. And anybody else that I missed coming in. I hope I didn't miss anybody. But man, it's just it's just crazy what they're doing to like employees and stuff. Like, if you don't get the job, you're gonna get your pay cut and all this other stuff, man. Like,
Well, they're losing their jobs, aren't they?
yeah, but like I know that Faith's husband's going through something where they want to take half of his pay, man.
Oh,
That can't be legal, man. You know?
that doesn't matter. Given the jab isn't legal either, but they seem to be having no problem sticking people.
God, isn't that unbelievable, man?
Oh, it's disgusting. I mean, it enrages me, that stuff. I got a buddy going through it. I mean, he's going to lose his job, you know,
Yeah,
because I think in February, because like, how the Supreme Court said the mandates don't hold up, but unless you receive federal money, where, well, the hospital he works for receives federal money.
yeah.
So in February, he'll be forced to get sticked
And
or go home.
and
He's
that's
going
how
home.
they'll do it. That's how they'll do it. If they can't get laws passed, right? You know, for laws to happen, we got to vote on that, right? That all goes through a process, right? But what they can do is they could give money bonuses to private corporations to have, them do the mandates for their employees,
Right,
private businesses, And then it's like, then what do you do, right? There's no way around it.
right.
And then they're giving out these big bonuses for if you do it.
And check this out. Even if they eventually, a year from now, they stop mandating everybody to, because of the court's rule, however that may work, which it isn't going to, but let's just say they do. How many people in the meantime, more people have gotten sick who didn't want to?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I mean, they just, every time they can delay this, the more people keep getting the special sauce.
right. Some people look at it as like, okay, well, I might as well just get it out of the way, but that's not how it works. It's never going to end.
It's never going to end. No.
It's never going to end. They're always going to say, oh, well, this thing came out, and if you had this, then it would be better. Come get it. Come get your next one. There's people on their fourth one already.
Because they can triple stab a double jab. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my God. This thing is just what a mess, man. Lord, come back as fast as you can
Dude,
come.
really.
You Yeah. But anyway, guys, it's time to round out. It's time to hit the old dusty trail. And I want to thank Tom for coming on, man. Thank you, Tom. It's
Yeah,
always
you're
a
welcome.
pleasure.
That was a quick 50 minutes, man.
Yeah, went by pretty
Wow.
fast. I know it, man. And I want to thank everybody for coming here. We had a pretty big group, man, today, and I was happy about that. And so, praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace, and all glory to God. And pray for the children, please. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 7 a.m.
Peace out.